Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanam Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kata Sindhudevacha Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo 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 Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Veshatani Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langaya Degaram Yad Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hare Krishna. So welcome to our Gita Sandesh sessions. Today we will do chapter 12, but before we do that, we'll just do a quick recap of chapter 11. So the word rupa in Sanskrit means a form. Now, you could say this debate about whether the Lord has a form or whether he does not have a form has gone on for centuries, especially in our culture. So some people believe that God is actually formless. It's because we have a form, we are projecting a form onto him. We are projecting qualities onto him. But if you carefully observe the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord asserts two things. He does have a formless aspect. He also has a form. So he is both formless and has a form simultaneously. And he explicitly declares that his personal form is original and the impersonal aspect actually arises from his original form. This is reiterated in chapter 11, where Krishna reveals one more aspect of his form, which is the Vishwarupa Darshan. Arjuna has already accepted the Lord as a supreme Lord in chapter 10. But he also wants to witness the Lord's universal form. And as I mentioned, a detailed description of the universal form is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. So conclusively, Krishna is establishing that he is the source of all creations. And so genuine divinity means that the Lord in his highest realm has a personal form where he is being served by millions of his pure devotees in the spiritual world. Just like in the Vaikuntha planet also the Lord resides and he is accepting service from millions of trillions and trillions of devotees. The spiritual world comprises of 3/4 of everything that exists. The material world is just a small fragment, it is just 1/4. So how do we know that if an incarnation comes down, that this is indeed an incarnation of the Lord and not somebody just claiming to be an incarnation? The first step is that any incarnation of the Lord is already mentioned in the scriptures. 2 is the personality arriving or the avatar coming down will have attributes that can be validated even through an astrological chart. Of course, the Lord does not come under the influence of Maya Devi. So in that sense, astrology would not apply. Second thing is, great teachers have already acknowledged the various avatars of the Lord. And The last element is that when the Lord comes, he performs extraordinary activities which no ordinary human being can imitate. For example, lifting the Govardhan hill on the tiny finger of his left hand, killing many demons when he's still an infant or a young child. So both the Srimad Bhagavatam as well as Bhagavad Gita establishes that the Lord has three aspects. One is his Brahman feature, which is the origin of the universal energy and the origin of the cosmos, the material cosmos. Then he also exists as Paramatma, as Prabhupada describes, the localized presence of the Lord in everyone. And he exists as Bhagavan, a personal deity. So the very fact that Krishna is accompanying us as Paramatma everywhere we go certainly shows that he cares for us and he's always ready to guide us. And yes, he also is there to sanction our desires. Therefore, we pray to the Lord in his personal form. So those who believe that the Lord does not have a form may have an incomplete understanding or an incorrect understanding of who the Lord is. We talked about how Arjuna wanted to see this vision of the Lord. And so Krishna says, I have to actually give you eyes to see this form of the Lord because you've never seen this before. And through this universal form, the Lord demonstrates that he is the source of all creation. He is the source of all the demigods. He is the source of all the universes. So everything in sum total is present within the body of the Vishwarupa. So you can see Krishna is so kind as to fulfill his devotee's desire to see in a different way than he had earlier. However, Arjuna gets overwhelmed by seeing this particular form of the Lord. It is not something that he is satisfied or pleased with, in the sense that it doesn't give him that bliss and happiness, seeing this particular Vishwarupa Darshan. And the reason for that is that Kala is a component of the Virat Rupa. And so within the universal form, Kala or time is actually death for us. Like the clock is ticking, and at some point or the other, we will disappear. Then at some point or the other, the cosmos will disappear. The material world will disappear. So everybody, in almost all other religions, you will see they worship the Lord as someone who instills fear in you, who instills awe and respect in you. So when there is fear, awe, and respect, there will not be intimacy. So this kind of God is worshipped in all formality. So that intimate relationship is not there. Therefore, Arjuna then finally asks the Lord, reveal your two-handed form to me, because that is Saumya, the most beautiful vision that one can have. Arjuna also offers prayers. So something that we can learn from this chapter is how to pray to the Lord. And the prayers always begin with glorifying the Lord, expressing our appreciation and gratitude for everything that he has given us, and also for everything that he's not given us that we wanted but we really did not need. Then there is an aspect of humility to ask for forgiveness and to be honest with the Lord. Because you see, you can't cheat the Lord no matter what you do. He knows what's in your heart. And then, of course, you can make your request, ask for a benediction. Ideally, the benediction is to seek something spiritual. So what does Arjuna seek here? He is seeking to see the four-handed form of the Lord and then the two-handed form of the Lord. He did not say that, please make sure I am victorious in the war. He asks for something spiritual, which is his focus was on seeing the Lord in the mood that he most enjoys, which is in his two-handed form. Of course, in between, Arjuna asks, who are you and what is your mission? Why have you come here? And Krishna says, I am time. I have come here to kill. I've already put to death all of these soldiers, excepting for a few, including you, Pandavas, will survive. And therefore, the only thing you can do, Arjuna, as a way to serve me is to be my instrument. So, if the Lord is saying, be my instrument, then that raises a question in our mind. What is the difference between free will and destiny? With your free will, you can utilize your free will to progress on your spiritual journey towards the Lord. This is a prudent use of free will. But then, there are things that will unfold in your life that will be as a result of your past karmic actions. So that will unfold as destiny. So these will be things that are beyond your personal control. So you have limited free will. And I remember one wonderful preacher explaining free will as follows, so that you can clearly understand what free will really means. So nobody has unlimited free will. That's not possible. All of us has limited free will, but we all will have different levels of free will. So if you were to tie a cow with a rope to a pole, then it can only traverse a particular distance. And that distance is decided by the length of the rope. So similarly, your free will is decided by the length of the rope that Krishna gives you. But what is fascinating is that those who have the most free will, which is the pure devotees of the Lord, never violate or misuse that freedom. They are very, very careful about it. So free will doesn't mean that you get to do whatever you want. You still have to follow the laws of this universe, because the universal laws are set by the Lord himself. And therefore Krishna is saying, since these individuals are adharmic, I've already made a decision to put an end to their life, and only by putting an end to their life will I put an end to adharma, so that there can be a fresh start. So a devotee always accepts that the Lord is in control. Therefore, when the devotee experiences success, he is immensely grateful and humble that the success was not due to him, but due to the Lord's special mercy. However, when a devotee experiences failure, then they accept it, but stay determined to move forward on that spiritual journey. They do not get frustrated or depressed. When difficulties come your way, a devotee will reflect what is happening, why is it happening, and what's the lesson in this particular incident for me. A devotee does not focus on what is the lesson that the other person should learn, because Krishna's creates a personalized lesson plan for each one of us. My lesson plan will be different than yours. This is very important to remember. in that sense, we are not equal because each of us are in a different stage in our spiritual journey. So a devotee never gets involved in the blame game. And even when change happens, some of us become overwhelmed with sudden changes in our life or become nervous. We even experience breakdowns, emotional breakdowns. Whereas the devotee handles the situation with confidence and excitement because it's a new day and the change means Krishna has decided a new adventure in your life. So when it comes to spirituality, a devotee always has faith that they will be indeed successful, that they will make progress. And so the question that we had posed yesterday was, is the Gita teaching us to believe in ourselves or believe in Krishna? And of course, the correct answer is that we believe in Krishna. That's what the Bhagavad Gita teaches us, because we have to have faith in him. We cannot even trust ourselves because of the 4 defects that we talked about, right? That we have a tendency to commit mistakes, we operate under illusion, we have a tendency to cheat, and our senses are imperfect. So form was a single word summary for the chapter that we looked at yesterday. So today we'll look at a very short chapter. The chapter title itself is Bhakti Yoga. So let us begin chapter 12 and see what is Krishna actually talking about. In this particular chapter, the Lord is glorifying the Bhakta. In the 10th chapter, Krishna said, my opulence is actually the Bhaktas. Here, the Lord is for the first time expressing his emotions and feelings towards his Bhaktas. So chapter 12 is titled Bhakti Yoga because the Lord has an opportunity to express himself and express his emotions as well. That is why in the Dvaita philosophy, we believe that the Lord is different than the Jivatma. Whereas in the Advaita philosophy, they believe the Jivatma has just gotten separated. When they realize that they are Lord, they will go back and merge with the Brahman. Here in the 12th chapter, clearly that Advaita philosophy is negated by Krishna himself. So Krishna will talk about how Bhakti Yoga is the topmost ladder of all of the yogas. And he will demonstrate this in different ways. It does not mean Krishna is rejecting Karma Yoga or he is rejecting Jnana Yoga or Dhyana. He is just accepting that Bhakti Yoga is the best, the simplest and fastest way to get back to him. Krishna also accepts the mood of devotees who are following other paths, but that does not necessarily mean Krishna thinks that they will come back to him very fast. So therefore, the ladder of devotional service, starting with the highest, moving on to the lower rungs. And in 7 shlokas, Krishna is glorifying. In 8 shlokas, Krishna is glorifying who is actually the dearest to him. And who is dearest to him, you will find out when you read those shlokas. So, which is better, worshipping the form or worshipping the formless? That's the question. How Krishna personally delivers his devotees. What's Krishna's opinion of Advaita or impersonalism. So let's look at this. So Arjuna begins with a question. Evam satata yukta ye bhakta stvam paryupasate ye chapyaksharam avyaktam tesham ke yoga vittama. Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be more perfect? Those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? So the eternal dispute that has been going on for millions of years, Arjuna is asking that question. Are you formless and those who worship your formless aspect? Or if you have a form and those who worship your form, which of these is more perfect? That's the question Arjuna is asking. What is Krishna saying? Those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. So Krishna has answered the eternal question that is vexing everybody. Form, formless, form, formless, form, formless. Krishna is simply stating that those who worship him as Archa Vigraha or as Bhagavan Shri Krishna, and they do this with great faith, in Krishna's opinion, they are more perfect, or rather they are most perfect. So the superlative applies to the devotees because they are engaging in personal service to Krishna and they are enlivening their relationship with Krishna. So here is Krishna's response to Arjuna's question. Worshipping me as Krishna with great faith is the most perfect. Okay, but what about those who are worshipping the formless? Because that's also a question that Arjuna has asked. So here Krishna is saying, Klesho dhikata rastesham avyakta sapta chetasam avyakta hikadir dukkham deha padbhairavapyate. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. Krishna is saying, you are used to being in a form. So for someone who has a form, to meditate on something that is formless, Krishna says is going to be very difficult. And more importantly, so people think if it is more difficult, that must be higher than something that is less difficult. Logically, that's what you would assume. But take note of what Krishna is saying. Those who worship the formless aspect of the Lord and want to merge into Brahman or Brahma Jyoti, Krishna is saying advancement is very troublesome. Krishna has not said it's a very easy path. Krishna also has not said this is the topmost path. He is calling it troublesome and difficult. So then the next question comes, why would anybody choose to follow a path that is more difficult and that is more troublesome? Maybe they just want to challenge themselves. But the devotees are very clear. We want to go back to Krishna in the easiest way possible, in the simplest way possible, by simply engaging in service of the Lord. So what we need to understand is, when the Lord comes down as avatars, his body is not made of materials. In the sense, the Lord's body is not made of Panchabhuta. When the Lord comes as an avatar, he comes in his spiritual form from the spiritual world. All around us, we see form and shape. The cosmos has a form. All the Jivatmas have a form. The Lord also has a form. Vaikuntha planets have a form. So everything has a form. We hear about the Karanodakashayi ocean, the Kshirodakashayi ocean, Kshirasagara. So everything has a form. We also have a form. When we go back to the spiritual world, we will take back our spiritual form, and in that way we will serve the Lord. So Shukadev Goswami says this whole description of the Virat Rupa, the Vishwarupa, is actually for the worship of those who are new. Those who find it difficult to believe in Krishna, for them something much more grand and cosmic seems to be easier to grasp. And therefore, in the Bhagavatam, you will hear descriptions as follows. The clouds are like the hair of the Lord. The hair on his arms and leg are like the trees that we see in the universe. Oceans are like the blood running through the Lord's veins. So hearing all of this description of the Virat Rupa form of the Lord, Parikshit Maharaj tells Shukadev Goswami, it's not possible to worship such a form for me because it seems overwhelming. So I'm more attracted to Lord Krishna because it is Lord Krishna that I saw in the womb of my mother Uttara when the Brahmastra was coming my way. So it's very difficult for me to worship the formless. So if you look at this table, you can see a comparison of what this really means between the Advaitists and Advaitists, you could say. Those who don't think there is a difference between the Lord, that we are all God, but we have forgotten because we've come under the influence of Maya. We just have to remember and then we become God again. The only problem with this statement is that you can't become God through sadhana. God is God. Through your sadhana, you can acquire godly qualities, but that doesn't mean you can also create the cosmos. You can also lift Govardhan Giriraj. Right? So the Jivatmas will always have limitations. In terms of quality, they are alike with the Lord. In terms of quantity, the qualities that Krishna has, the Jivatma has in very, very minute quantity. The Jivatma is also Satchidanand. The Lord is also Satchidanand. But we are not unlimitedly Satchidanand. So we are always in the servant position when compared to the Lord. However, what's the difference? What do the Advaitists believe? The Advaitism was propagated by Sripad Adi Shankaracharya. And from there, versions of it also went into Islam and Christianity. Now, there are reasons given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as to why Sripad Shankaracharya did that. Even though he has written the most Ashtakams glorifying Lord Krishna, Lord Jagannath, Govinda, how is it someone who did not believe that the Lord has a form continuously glorify the Lord as Bhagavan Shri Krishna? And there is an explanation for that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So anyway, the impersonalist who, as the word suggests, does not believe that the Lord has a form, they are meditating on the unmanifested. What does that mean? The Brahma Jyoti is actually just the effulgence or the light emanating from the Lord's body. If you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is this Brahma Jyoti that produces the material cosmos. Perhaps since it is the source of the material cosmos, maybe that is the reason the impersonalists choose to go back to the Brahma Jyoti. But if you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Brahma Jyoti is just coming from the Lord. What do the Advaitists have to do? They focus on control of the senses. Whereas the devotee is worshipping the deity form of the Lord, and instead of trying to artificially control the senses, we simply engage the senses in the service of the Lord, and over a period of time, our senses will become purified. Then, another aspect is that the Brahman is always understood by the reading of the Upanishads, learning Sanskrit, understanding what the superconsciousness is all about, or infinite consciousness is all about. Whereas for a devotee, we are simply trying to understand Krishna by practicing Navadvipa Bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Pada Sevanam, then Sakyam, and then finally Atma Nivedanam. So that is why Krishna is saying, worshipping on something that is just like a white light or trying to merge with the white light is going to be very, very difficult. Whereas serving Krishna is just simply natural. It's simple and it is natural. And the most important thing is, in the Advaita philosophy, there is no relationship, because who will you have a relationship with? Because if you yourself become God, what is there to do? Nobody is serving you. You just merged into the superconsciousness. So there cannot be any relationship there. Whereas for a devotee, they are not interested in merging with the Lord. They are most interested in serving the Lord in whatever rasa that they attain the maximum bliss. And most importantly, this is why Krishna is saying it is very, very troublesome and difficult, is that what makes Advaitism difficult is that you have to depend on your own effort to make progress. Whereas when you are in a relationship with Krishna, Krishna is personally involved in your life and he personally liberates the devotees. Whereas the impersonalist is not seeking the Lord's help. They believe on their own effort they can achieve liberation. Since the Lord has three features, Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan, each of them representing Sat, Chit, Sat plus Chit and Sat Chitanananda. The Advaitists' realization of the Lord is incomplete. They only understand two facets of the Lord. Either only the Sat feature of the Lord or the Sat and Chit feature of the Lord. Whereas for a devotee, you understand all three. Satchidananda Vigraha. So there is a description of the difference between the two using the analogy of the cat and the monkey. So in this Markata Kishora Nyaya, it is called, which is elaborated by Sri Vedanta Desikar, he talks about the behavior of a baby monkey that has to hold on to its mother tightly as the mother is moving from branch to branch and tree to tree. So it is up to the baby monkey to develop the strength to hold on. This is called Markata Kishora Nyayam. This is the position of the impersonalists. They have to figure out how to stay strong and how to make progress, because the mother cannot support them. Actually, the father can support them, but they don't want that help. They don't seek that help. Whereas for a devotee, we are following what is called a Marjara Kishoranyam. Marjara Kishoranyam. This means the mother cat simply holds the kitten in its mouth, and the kitten is still peaceful. The cat is taking the responsibility for rescuing the kitten from any dangerous situations. So this is the role that the Lord plays in the devotee's life. He just comes and picks you up. So this Marjara Kishora Nyayam was propounded by Manamala Mahamuni. So the philosophies are different. In one, the cat is taking care of the kitten. In the other, the baby monkey has to hold on to the mother. So the mood is different, the philosophy is different. For us, we also experience a great deal of ananda. If we have deities at home, we dress the deities, we decorate them, we feed them, we put them to sleep, we wake them up in the morning. So real happiness comes when you are developing a deep personal relationship with the Lord. So we can't say just because a method is complex that it is going to yield better results than the simple method of simply being carried by the Lord. So we should not be focused on whatever is more difficult must be the higher method.
Mummy chupuju.
Okay. So here Krishna is saying, Tesham aham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami nachirat partha maya veshita chetasam. Those who worship me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I, aham, am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So you don't hear in the Bhagavad Gita Krishna saying he personally delivers the jnanis or the dhyana yogis. He personally delivers the devotees. Because the devotees are always trying to serve the Lord. So again, clear indication why Bhakti Yoga is the topmost service to Krishna. So any devotional services that you can perform is accepted by the Lord, and He will personally come to deliver you. So definitely the impersonalists will say, it is difficult to worship on the formless. Therefore, for those who are very simple, they don't have the inner strength, for them the Lord is recommending Archa Vigraha worship. So they will flip the script and say it that way. Therefore, they think that Archa Vigraha worship is inferior to worshipping the Brahman feature of the Lord. But that is not what Krishna is saying. Definitely not in the 12th chapter. That's not what Krishna is saying. Actually, anywhere in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is not propounding that Jnana Yoga is the topmost. But Krishna is not rejecting the other parts. He's just establishing the rung, which is what we're going to come to right now, which is the ladder. So here, in the first shloka, in the 8th shloka of this ladder, Krishna is talking about Kevala Bhakti, which is pure Bhakti. It is not contaminated by jnana or dhyana or karma. It is just pure love for the Lord. Mayeva mana adhatsva, Mayi buddhim niveshaya, nivashisyasi mayeva, ata urdhvam na samshayah. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always, without a doubt. So here Krishna is talking about Kevala Bhakti. That means Krishna has already said in the 7th shloka that those who worship him, he personally helps. Just like Gajendra Moksha, he simply offers the lotus to the Lord as he's trapped, as his foot is caught in the crocodile's mouth. Gajendra was saying, I just wanted to offer the lotus to you before my last breath. I wanted to complete that service before I die. But then you have come to protect me. This is real devotion. Krishna reciprocating, responding to his devotees' love and affection. So Srila Prabhupada also was always thinking of Krishna. Throughout the day, he was preaching, he was managing the temple, he was doing deity worship, he was traveling across the world, setting up new centers. At night time, he was translating his books. So Prabhupada would barely sleep for 1 to 2 hours at night. So you can imagine how the immense strength, power of devotees come because of their relationship with the Lord. So the gopis were always fully surrendered to Krishna. We simply cannot imagine what Prabhupada accomplished at the ripe old age of 70. From the age of 70 to 81, Prabhupada established an institution and set up 108 temples around the world. And therefore Krishna says, I'm always there in the lives of such devotees. So how can you serve the Lord? There are 5 rasas in which you can serve the Lord. One is called the Shantaras. The Shantaras means you accept the Lord, but you're not engaged in any service. You may worship him, but you don't serve him actively. In the Dasya Ras, your devotion comes in the form of service, where you know you are the servant and the Lord is the Supreme Lord. Now, in the Sakya Ras, devotion is expressed in the form of friendship. That means the acknowledgement that the Lord is the Supreme Lord will not be there. It is just in the mood of service and friendship. You could say the Dasya Bhav is exhibited in a most admirable way by Hanumanji. He never aspires to be in a parental mood with Lord Ram. He knows his position and he likes that position of being a servant. And higher than Sakya Ras is Vatsalya Ras, to serve the Lord in a parental mood. And then in the Madhurya Ras, to be there as serving the Lord in a conjugal mood, as lover and beloved. See, across Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya and Madhurya, there is love. But the flavor of the love keeps varying from Dasya to Sakya to Vatsalya to Madhurya. In Shantaras, there is an acknowledgement that he is the Supreme. So these are the 5 rasas in which we can actually serve the Lord. So from Kevala Bhakti, now Krishna is going to come one step down to what is called Sadhana Bhakti. Atachittam samadhatum nashaknoshi mayasthiram Abhyasa yogena tataha mam ichchaptum dhananjaya. Here the Lord is saying, if you can't always be thinking of me, worshipping me, serving me with love, then you should do something that is a little lower, which is, my dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. So that means Krishna is saying through sadhana bhakti, you can make yourself pure. You will develop a desire to come back to me, and then I will help you personally. So this is sadhana bhakti. What is sadhana? You wake up early in the morning, you do your chanting, you offer bhoga to the Lord, you wake up the Lord, you worship the Lord, you worship Tulsi Maharani, you honor prasadam. All of this falls under sadhana bhakti. Because we don't have pure love for the Lord yet. This is something we have to practice before we come to that state. Because we have forgotten it. Therefore, we have to revive our love for the Lord through sadhana. So what are the typical rules and regulations that one must follow? The first is, we have to follow the instructions of an acharya. When you follow the instructions of an acharya, the acharya will personally bless you. Even if that acharya is no longer physically present here. We can always attract the mercy of pure devotees of the Lord, because the pure devotees, Krishna himself says, they are far more compassionate than me. So some of the guidance that we get is, ideally we should wake up early in the morning. We should go regularly to the temple and offer prayers, offer seva. If at home you have a puja room, you do the same thing at home. Learn to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Ideally, we should chant at least 16 malas every day, which will take around an hour, 40 minutes, 50 minutes. We must offer flowers to the deities every day. We should cook for the deities every day. And after we have offered the bhoga to the Lord, we should then accept it as prasadam. Every day we should listen to Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam from the lips of pure devotees. What is the eligibility criteria? Nothing. Anybody can learn and practice this. What is the benefit that you get by doing this? Well, you're guaranteed to get Krishna Prema. So through the path of sadhana bhakti also, you can reach that stage of Krishna Prema. Now, from Kevala Bhakti to Sadhana Bhakti, now to Karma Yoga. Krishna has not come to Jnana Yoga yet. He's dropped down a little lower, which is interesting. So here Krishna is saying, Abhyasapya samarthosi matkarma paramo bhava madartham api karmani kurvan siddham avapsyasi. If you are unable to practice the rules of Bhakti Yoga, try to act for me alone. For by acting for me, you will reach perfection. So if you can't do sadhana bhakti, then Krishna is saying, at least work for me, which is karma yoga. Offer the results to Krishna. Then Krishna says, by doing this, you will reach perfection. So if the rules cannot be practiced, then you can engage all of your external senses in serving Krishna. You can work for Krishna, and then ultimately you will reach that level of spiritual maturity. When athaidadapya saktosi ashaktosi kartum madhyogam ashritaha sarva karma phalatyagam tatah puruyatatmavan. So if you can't do Kevala Bhakti, if you can't do Sadhana Bhakti, if you cannot practice Karma Yoga, then what? If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act giving up all results of your work and try to be self-situated. So Krishna is talking about Nishkama Karma Yoga here, which is to give up all the results of your work and just be situated in the self. And so here we can compare the difference between pure bhakti, sadhana bhakti, and karma yoga, whether it is sakama karma yoga or nishkama karma yoga. So if you're practicing karma yoga, you are increasing the number of good deeds that you do. Generally, you are considered a beginner in this stage. You are still interested in sense pleasures, sakama karma yoga. And because you're accumulating punya, the reward for you is to take birth or go to the higher planets. So this is a precursor for you to practice sadhana bhakti. So one level higher is sadhana bhakti. Here you are regularly performing devotion. It's a practitioner stage. That is why it is called, you are called a sadhaka. You are seeking eternal pleasure because you've understood now that material pleasure is of no use. So what is the reward for you? If you perform your sadhana bhakti, you will take birth in a devotee family in your next life. And this is the stage for you. You have set the foundation to perform prema bhakti. In prema bhakti, there are no rules or regulations. You love the Lord and you just love the Lord. Of course, this is not meant to be imitated. For us, we have to do sadhana bhakti. So, such a type of personality is always in a blissful state of mind. For them, there is no concept of rebirth because they are already liberated. They are always in transcendental bliss. So, for us, what is advised is sadhana bhakti. Because we are still not that pure. It takes us some time. So what do you learn from this yoga ladder? That the Lord is offering various alternatives to encourage us to move forward until we reach the stage of either sadhana bhakti or prema bhakti. So the Lord has widened his net to say that I'm not rejecting anything, but the further away you are from me, then you are in the lower rung. So if you really want to experience me, then you have to come up that ladder. So that means Krishna has not rejected anybody here. He's accepted karma yoga, he has accepted dhyana yoga and jnana yoga. But his personal preference is that you perform bhakti yoga because that is where the rasa is. Yeah. So now from shlokas 13 to 20, Krishna is going to glorify his devotees. He's already said in several chapters that his bhaktas are the highest, starting from the 6th chapter. He's established that. So what is Krishna expressing? In the 13th and 14th shloka, Krishna is saying, one who is not envious, but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me. Such a devotee is very dear to me. So Krishna is saying these are the qualities that his devotees have. And because they have cultivated these qualities, Krishna is saying, they are very dear to me. Of course, every single shloka from shlokas 13 to 20 ends with Krishna saying they are very dear to me, very dear to me, very dear to me. So you can go to Veda base and read all the shlokas that end with Krishna saying, such a personality is very dear to me. So that means Krishna is expressing his emotion, right? So in the last shloka, the 20th shloka, Krishna says, Ye tu dharmam radamidam yathoktam pariyupasate shraddhadhana matparama bhakta stetiva me priyaha. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. So superlative on top of superlative. So Krishna is saying, anybody who follows this bhakti yoga, they're always engaged in serving Krishna. They do so with faith. Krishna is their ultimate goal. That means Krishna prema is the ultimate goal for us. Krishna is saying such a devotee is very, very dear to me. So this concludes the Bhakti Yoga section, which is from chapters 7 to 12. And tomorrow we will begin the Jnana Yoga section with chapter 13. So if you have any questions on this particular chapter, so if you want to look at the stages of Bhakti, it begins with faith, Shraddha. It then goes to the level that is called Sadhu Sangha, where you begin to hang out or take the association of devotees regularly. Then you come to the stage of Bhajana Kriya, where you are actually starting your sadhana bhakti. As you practice your sadhana bhakti, you reach the stage of anartha nivritti. It removes all of your material attachments and helps you stay fully fixed on Krishna, which is the stage of Nishta. So between Nishta and Prema, there are two other stages called Ruchi, Asakti, and Bhava. So from Bhava, you move to Prema. So out of the 9 stages, only 6 are depicted here. But you can understand we are in the initial stages. So from Shraddha to Sadhu Sangha to Bhajana Kriya to Anartha Nivritti to Nishta. Then Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, and Prema. So any questions on this particular chapter? Would be happy to address. Yes, bro.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Actually, in Bhakti Yoga, the recommendation for Gruhastha Ashrama, those who are in Gruhastha Ashrama, in the Gita Mahatya, one shloka is there. Samsara is compared just like Mala and Sagara. But we have a Varna Ashrama. Chaturvarna ashrama is there. In that, Gruhastha also one type of ashrama. So generally, generally, this Varna ashrama is mandatory for every human being, Mataji? Not required. Because this Bhakti Yoga is for everyone, right, Mataji? All human beings. Devotees can achieve very easily. Means especially sannyasa ashrama who are taking from childhood to complete in sannyasa ashrama. For that liberation and achieving to Krishna consciousness as well as Krishna's abode, it is a little bit easy. But what about Gruhastha ashrama, Mataji? Whether following Gruhastha ashrama and getting liberation to Krishna, is it really possible? like that, any achievers is there in our Shastras?
Well, in the 18th chapter, Arjuna asks the same question. Is a Tyagi better or a sannyasi better? Krishna says it's better to practice Tyaga. And Krishna does not consider sannyas to be the topmost in terms of that you have to take. I think your question is, which is what the Advaitas say, that you have to take sannyas if you want to enter the spiritual world. Can you imagine a Lord that has such a high standard, he'll not allow anybody in unless you take sannyas? Krishna emphatically states in the 18th chapter, we have to practice the spirit of sannyasis without actually taking the dress of a sannyasi. It is that spirit of renunciation that Krishna glorifies, because not everybody can take sannyas. So, what about women then?
Yes, Mataji, that
Krishna is saying women are not allowed inside the spiritual world because we cannot take sannyas.
both are same equal opportunity, Mataji. But the thing is, in case of men, women has more mental power. Men has little rigid to focus on the targets. If you see if even compared to from history to modern world also, the capability compared to men to women, it is somewhat differ. Am I right, Mataji?
Well, Prabhupada says it is easier for a woman to practice bhakti because it's easier for a woman to have faith in the Lord than for a man, because a man looks for reason, logic, explanations. It's harder for the man to surrender. It's very easy for a woman to surrender to Krishna. But that does not mean there are not great examples in our culture of men who are great devotees of the Lord. We have many examples of Surdas, Purandaradas, so many men who are just completely pure devotees of the Lord.
My worry is, Mataji, if you see the Yayati example, he actually, after 100 years, he again takes his son engage also because of his boon. Again, his second 100 years he will utilize, even though he won't satisfied. He again, the desires will comes and comes and comes. There is no end point for that.
Yes.
So that's the biggest drawback of in Grihastha ashrama. If you taste it, means immediately, even the moment if you not require like that, we will feel. But over a period of time, even in the consciousness of bhakti, but the bonds will not liberate us practically. Am I right, Mataji? In such type of clutches, how can we can overcome? Because that clutches are very strong.
True. Definitely, our desires are innumerable, which you will find out when you come to the Jnana Yoga section of the Bhagavad Gita that we will cover starting tomorrow. Therefore, Krishna says you have to regulate your life. If you start regulating your life, then at some point in time you will come to recognize that these things no longer matter to you. But until you learn to love Krishna so much, you will still have certain attachments to material things. Desire in and of itself is not bad. So what our Goswamis recommend that we do is, for Grihasthas, we have to practice what is called Yukta Vairagya. We'll cover this in one of the chapters. Now, the difference between Falgu Vairagya is fake renunciation, which means Krishna is not recommending that you externally pretend to be renounced, but internally your mind is still churning with desires. That will be a fake renunciation.
Hello?
And whereas Krishna is talking about Yukta Vairagya, which is whatever Krishna gives you. So, for example, if Krishna gives me a lot of money or a lot of intelligence, then I have to just utilize that in the service of Krishna. And Krishna has not said you have to do it full time. But whatever gift you have received, you have to realize and recognize that this is a gift from Krishna, and how do you utilize that gift to serve Krishna? That doesn't mean you put a stop to the rest of your life. I mean, if you're a grihastha, you have so many other responsibilities. It's your duty to take care of your wife. It's your duty to raise your children to be God conscious, Krishna conscious. You have all those responsibilities. You cannot abandon those responsibilities. It is the grihastha ashram that actually supports brahmacharis, vanaprastha, and sannyasi. So there is a little concession for grihasthas. There is not any such concession for the brahmacharis or the sannyasis, as much as there are concessions for the grihasthas. So Krishna is not that cruel that he will have higher standards established for grihasthas compared to other ashrams. He's actually very compassionate, very loving. All he wants is your love. What else? Why do we need to worry about anything else? Can we not express our love to Krishna even as a grihastha? So we don't want to undertake a false journey of premature purity or some kind of a purity test, because Krishna is not asking for your purity. He's actually asking for your love.
That's true, Mataji. I convinced. But whatever you show, you projected the slides but difficult task, but we can achieve over a period of time, not instantly. But Krishna is mentioning one word, mithyachari. Long back in Jnana Yoga, you mentioned about one sloka, Mataji, that is related to means we have to be keen monitor with higher devotees. How it is possible means okay, integrity means even doing right things, no one is watching. That type of situation nowadays it is not happening. Self realization only the possible. For is there any recommendation for those type of bhaktas, Mataji?
What type of bhaktas?
Means Grihastha bhaktas.
Yeah.
Actually, it is quite difficult to monitor 24/7, right, Mataji?
To monitor what 24/7?
Means higher devotees monitoring and progressing our bhakti, then only possible. Then only possible to reach highest stage like that you mentioned in previous class.
Yeah, ultimately, Krishna is there within you as Chaitya Guru. So it's not that there's no witness.
Okay.
Krishna is there within you as Chaitya Guru, so you can't fool him. He will correct you from inside if he feels you're stepping in the wrong direction. He will always give you answers. Actually, just today, just 5 minutes before the class, I had a little doubt about something, because you engage yourself in so much seva that you end up with a to-do list. And I was thinking, my to-do list is endless. And I just as I was thinking, how do I manage this endless to-do list? I got the answer. The minute that thought ended in my mind, I got the answer on a page that I was looking at. And it clearly says, which you will see in one of the themes, Krishna doesn't care about your to-do list. What the Gita is teaching us is to be list. You want to be a devotee. You want to serve. So Krishna is not impressed with your unending to-do lists. You have to be. So as Chaitya Guru, Krishna is very eager to give you the answers for which you have doubts. For that, you have to embark on sadhana bhakti and be sincere. You will get your answers. If your philosophy is wrong or if your understanding of something is wrong, Krishna will correct you through the lips of other devotees, or you will see a particular passage in a book where the answer is just hitting you in the face. So the answer just hit me in the face the minute my thought ended, I got the answer. Unexpected.
That's really true. That's true, really, Mataji. Even whenever I am moving in wrong direction, if I feel like that, immediately I used to read Srila Prabhupada, Truth and Beauty, one story, and the Nectar of Instructions, that books I used to follow. But I want to know even any further recommendations is there, means I can follow. That's what I am.
The recommendation is very simple. Read every day, hear every day. If possible, take the association of devotees every day. Of course, that may be tough for people who are working. That is why this Zoom temple originated in COVID times and has flourished very nicely. So the most important thing, Prabhu, is you have to keep yourself grounded. Only devotees can show the mirror to you. If you're practicing any of this alone, it is very easy to give it up and get lost also very easily. You must take the association of devotees, because it's devotees who will help you, hold your hands, and take you closer to Krishna. There is no other way. It is not unlike in Advaita philosophy, each one for his own. Bhakti is the exact opposite. We cannot practice bhakti alone. It is done together. Yes, our sadhana is ours for sure. But without the help of devotees, we cannot make progress. We underestimate the influence that devotees have in our life. Their prayers, their mercy, their goodwill, their friendship, everything is there for you, which is what we need. So if you simply follow the instructions given by Prabhupada, you should make very nice progress without any doubt.
Definitely, Mataji. I will do it.
Have faith that the process will work.
Yes.
And don't get ahead of yourself. In the sense, sometimes we have a tendency, we want clarity, we want results, but without the effort. Put the effort in, it'll come.
Sure, Mataji.
Okay, Haribol. Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Vancha kalpatarupyasya kripa sindhuvevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrindi ki jai Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai Srila Gurudev ki jai Shri Gauranatai ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, devotees. Haribol.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Haribol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Haribol, Hare